right, welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is your host, Chris, and with me on the line, I have a very special guest, Mike, the guitarist of Brick by Brick. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good tonight. It's a night full of interviews. I just got to talk to Steve Dayan, a nice guitarist, and now I get to talk to another guitarist, you. So it's been a pretty good night for me.
Well, that's good. We got snow up in upstate New York here, so I'm not having a great night.
Oh, really? How many inches?
Actually, this isn't going to be. It's not a major dusting. We only got like 3, I think, so far. It's coming down now, but.
Yeah, 3. You still got a shovel though. We're here in Montclair, New Jersey, so we were getting it this morning, but it kind of died out into rain, so we lucked out.
Hopefully it turns like that.
Hell yeah, man. But yeah, I thought tonight we would talk about your brand new album coming out, Hive Mentality. It comes out February 22nd. A lot of fun right there. And you guys actually released the title track for that not too long ago, which is dude, that's a slamming track right there. It's so heavy. I love your
thank you.
That I don't know if you want to call it a breakdown riff or just that chugging riff. Basically the main riff.
Yeah.
It's so good. Just thought I'd tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, no problem. So, yeah, I want to talk about the album, about the concept, the meaning behind it, and what we could look forward to on February 22nd.
Oh, February 22nd. It's a busy day for us. We're doing our CD release party up here in our hometown. We got Dying Fetus, Ramallah, and I Am from Texas coming up to help us out with that show. It's going to be nuts. That's going to be at Upstate Concert Hall in Clifton Park, New Jersey, or Clifton Park, New York. I almost wanted to say Clifton, New Jersey, but
yeah, that's right next to us.
But yeah, we got that coming up, and yeah, the album was so much fun. From the start, everything about it, everything fell in a line. There wasn't any snag, and I'm probably jinxing myself now because it's not actually out yet. But right now, it's been smooth sailing right up until this point. So, yeah, the 22nd is going to be do or die, I guess you could say.
That's a good way to put it. Oh, with the record, what would you say was probably the thing that challenged you the most, and that you're happy you overcame, that really made the record better?
Well, the challenge we went into a studio of I guess the word would be like a prestigious kind of studio, really beautiful studio. We were under the gun. We were supposed to record at a friend's studio, and he had a kid, so he had to convert his studio into a nursery. And and he never told us. So here we are, 2 weeks before going in, and we wanted to go in and just go over some notes. And he goes, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to do the album." I'm like, "Oh." Well, we kind of have deadlines because we had a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So we made some calls, and there was the studio called Over It Media in Albany, New York, and they had a cancellation. So they got us in, and we had to go in some weird hours here and there. But we went in. We had a producer that we never worked with or anything, and luckily,
wow,
history with him. What was that?
I don't know. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway.
See, I told you. I jinxed myself by saying everything was going smooth. But, yeah, so we had the one fortunate thing is the producer that was handling it was a guitarist of a band called Stigmata, who are a band from upstate New York. So we knew him. So we're like, thank goodness, just went in, we explained what we want to do, and he just went with it. And he made the recording, the whole process was so easy with him, and he pushed us. He, made us redo some stuff and try some new things, and actually had some input on the album, which was awesome because you have a biased opinion when you're recording and you think everything's peachy keen, and next thing you know, it's no, try this. And you're like, oh, it sounds better like this. Yep. So it was good having another set of eyes and ears on it. And the whole process was great, and we were just nervous because it was a little bit more expensive than what we wanted to for budget. We went over budget by like $2,000 on the recording, but it was worth it. every penny was worth it. You know, we're used to recording out of people's living rooms and whatever we can do. So this was quite the experience. And at the end, it was just like, it was just so worth it.
Well, you signed with Upstate Records, correct? Like recently.
Yep, yep.
So that
I've known the owner of Upstate Records for a long time, and we were on another label for the last record, and they didn't really do what they were supposed to do for us. And you know, it is what it is. So we were glad to get out of that. And then he approached us, and we started talking, and we basically just went into this whole record label band/artist relationship as, let's just help each other out. I mean, you're a record label and I'm expecting you to do all this, and we're a band and you're expecting me to do all this. So let's figure this out. And we went into it with that kind of an idea, and it's been working great. I mean, I talk to Mario, who's the owner of the label, pretty much every day, and he's done so much for us. It's amazing. And he's got, you know, we got worldwide distro, which, you know, obviously we would want that from any label, but he shows me, you know, who's actually distributing our stuff. You know, he tells me everything. There's no hidden cost and fine print to go through. It's like he just tells you exactly, all right, this distro ordered this many and this, that, and da 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 da. I'm like, all right, this is great. So I know everything. Every step of the way is clear and concise.
so no, you're not getting blindsided by any means.
Nah, not at all, not at all. And you know, we have a great agreement with him. You know, and everything's fair. It's just fair. You know, and he's given us what we want and what we need, and you know, we're going to do what we can to fulfill our obligations as well. You know.
Well, because you guys have been around for a while, you guys are kind of like a seasoned band and all that. Do you think that because I feel like lately, the past couple of years, a lot of people are like, screw labels. It's all about like DIY. Are you agreeing with that, or do you think actually having a label is beneficial?
Yes and no. I want a label because I just don't have the time to do all the stuff. I mean, and that's basically what it is. I mean, I get it, not having a label and doing a DIY, but we're an older band, so we're not a hype band. We're never going to be a hype band. So for the genre that we're pushing, you know, we're not going to appeal to the kids that have their face in social media 24/7, as opposed to an older guy that's going to buy a CD. So I think for us, a label is better. And it's like I said, it just saves me a lot of aggravation. I don't have to do all the footwork. You know, it's a lot of work, and we're older. We got jobs and families and grown up stuff to do. You know.
Yeah, you guys all have full-time gigs too, right?
Sorry?
You guys have all like full-time gigs too, right?
Yeah.
Like full-time jobs and all that.
You know, we do our touring and everything. We work around vacation schedules or time off stuff. It's hard. I mean, Ray doesn't work. He works, you know, in, you know, the bar scene, so he can take time off. My drummer is a barber for himself, so he can take time off. I work in retail, so I gotta send requests, but my boss is really cool, so you know, I get the time off I need, and my bass player, his family owns a business that he works for, so
Okay.
It's a little easy, but yeah.
And you also do some like promoting and booking, and like you're really into the scene, right?
I just love music. Every day I gotta have something to do with music. It's whether it's buying 50 CDs online or helping a band out or booking a show or playing a show. But yeah, I like to stay as involved as possible. I love it. It's rewarding. I mean, there's no money in it. It's definitely a labor of love, you know. So if I'm not at a corporate level of booking. You know, I don't book like Hatebreed and Slayer and stuff like that. I book, you know, the underground bands mostly, and you know, like I said, it's just there's no money in it. You know, if I do have a profit on a show, I gotta put it aside because I'm going to lose somewhere else. So
Do you ever like?
But
Do you look for like? Would you want to promote like big bands like that and book bands like Hatebreed level, or no? You don't care about that.
well, I mean, in my area, the population probably wouldn't allow it. There's a promoter and a club that pretty much handles that level of bands, and you know what? They're doing a great job. Let them have it. I don't need to step on any toes or get in the way. I'll just do what I'm doing. I'm happy with that.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. You don't want to mess with anyone up there. I totally get that. But
No, and we've all known each other too. I mean, I know the people that own the club and all that stuff. And they've asked me to co-pro some of the stuff with them, and I have, but it's just bigger bands are bigger stress. That's all. So
well,
rather
from
not.
being in the scene for so long, what is something that a lot of bands, big or small, what do they tend to like overlook or not take into consideration?
Well, you know what I hate? I hate it when bands just rely on Facebook to promote their show. Like here, I shared it. I promoted my show. No, I mean, I don't believe in that at all. I still believe in going to shows and to actually hand out flyers for your show. I still do that. And we tend to draw a little bit more than you a band that just clicks on a button on the computer, and that's what the title Hive Mentality is really geared toward. Is geared toward the social construction of today. And I don't want to be that old guy going, get off my lawn, but there's people that blindly follow social media to the point where it affects their lives. And, you could see it by just the little rants and the arguments that happen. Everybody's got those on their pages. It's like people just argue, and if it was face to face, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be happening because everybody hides behind a keyboard and they can say whatever they want. But I believe that social media is run by corporations, which are run by government. And for 1 second, if you told me that the FBI doesn't own Facebook, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
It's just people just put everything out there on social media. Everything. It's amazing.
And a lot of the bands,
all this.
I feel like a lot of the bands out there too on social media aren't like real. Like they either have a computer or someone else running it. Like I'll get so many like fan requests from bands like check out my stuff. It's like overload and not genuine. Like I feel like I'm not gonna like check out your stuff because you're spamming me.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely aspects of social media that are definitely positive, but like I said, I'm worried about that kid that goes to the show and watches the concert to his phone.
Oh yeah.
He's sitting there videotaping, and it's like, why? You're here. It's called memories, man. Interact with some of the people at the show and solidify the memory for this show. Never mind, somebody else is going to be recording it, so let it go.
Yeah.
There's
There's always gonna be a copy on YouTube.
Metallica's doing that. They videotape every show, and you don't need to bring your phone and watch the Metallica show through your phone. Just enjoy it.
Yeah,
That's
like they have
kinda
video
cool that
and
they do.
audio too. I found that crazy.
Yeah.
That they're offering that every show. It's crazy. But
I got a friend of mine that buys every single show. I'm like, oh, you're crazy.
yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. But going back to Hive Mentality, you guys are known for like your hardcore style, but also like I think like the more like mentality of it. But you guys are very metal in a sense too. You have to be like careful that you call like hardcore bands metal. I feel like they get offended by
I
that.
know. We're a metal band, and we have a hardcore attitude, and that. I've always said that. But when we first started, we were labeled Troycore, which is bands from Troy, and they're more metal influenced hardcore than anything. And so we just got lumped into that, which I'm not complaining about because legendary bands have come out of there for that genre. But and our friends and the people that we associate with are mostly from hardcore bands, and that's what I like to book and everything. But I mean, traditional hardcore, like New York hardcore, we don't fit with a lot of them per se because we have a metal more of a metal edge. But we're a metal band. We've always been a metal band. Never claimed to be really anything else. But the hardcore, the attitude is the hardcore part, and I think that's what any band. Because you look at H2O, they're considered hardcore, but they're not a hardcore band. They're a pop punk band.
Yeah.
I mean, they got catchy songs. They could be on the radio. It's just funny what gets labeled hardcore. So now we're metal. I especially on this record, we definitely pushed the metal edge on it more. Ever since we got Ray in the band, it's been more leaning toward that direction. The singer before Ray was more of a hardcore singer and brought us back to a hardcore style per se. But Ray, it's the way he sings and everything. It complements some of the riffs, and I find us playing, more riffier, intricate kind of parts, with his singing. He kind of influences some of the way we write by the way he sings.
Well, you could definitely tell that by your first single, like the self-title track. I feel like that works perfectly with that riff. I'm sorry, dude. I really like that riff a lot.
I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Listen to it like over and over. So like I brought up the whole hardcore and metal scene because I'm kind of curious what you think about it. Like you have bands like Vane and Code Orange. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're kind of like changing like the way like hardcore and metal are mixing now. It's like another new wave of post-hardcore, post-metal, whatever. What do you think about that? Do you think that's going in the right direction?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, Vane just got nominated for a Grammy. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, first album.
That's awesome. And they're great dudes. They're nice kids. The way I look at it is, never mind metal and hardcore. It's all rock and roll.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would rather book a show that had 5 different genres of metal because it's easier on the ears. You're going to bring a wider range of people to that show. There's some bands out there that are smart in the way they do it, like the Acacia Strain toured with Knock Loose. Perfect mix because you're going to have the deathcore kids, and then you're going to have the more hardcore metal. It's just it's great. It's just a cross promotion.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Terror went on tour with H2O. Smart move. That's the way it's got to be.
Like you're hitting both markets.
Pop punk. There's a lot of pop punk bands that are touring with hardcore bands now. It's crazy. I love that. I would rather see a show that has 3 different genres than all hardcore bands, all metal bands, all the same thing. It's like, because it just bleeds into it, each other,
Yeah, I just go by like my own, like when I listen by myself, I don't listen to all the same genre. I usually like change it up after a couple of songs, and that's how I feel like tour should be. I feel like a lot more bands need to do that. Like I know Trivium does that a lot now. They brought on Sabaton with them, and then can't think of the other band right now. I'm blanking, but I feel like a lot of bands do that. Like you brought up the Knock Loose tour. My friend actually made a joke. He's like, "That's probably going to be the best tour this year." He's like, "But I probably won't get to the end of the set because the pit's going to be so violent."
Yeah.
Because like you're just throwing down for Acacia Strain and Knock Loose and so many good bands there. But speaking of Acacia Strain, they're actually featured on your album, right?
Vincent, yeah, we actually did that song years ago, and it was on a split with a band called Ruckus from California. We did it on Bad Ground Records, but there was only a few hundred of them made, and we never released that song to a bigger audience. So that was with our old singer. So we redid the song with Ray, and Vincent came back in and redid his parts, and we gave it a little bit of a heavier vibe on this album. So yeah, he's definitely the Acacia Strain and Brick by Brick got a huge history because every year we do a big toy drive up here. We usually raise about 2,000 toys for local charity. So, we do that almost every year. There's only been a couple of years that they couldn't do it because of touring schedule or whatever, but for the most part, we've been doing that every year.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I read about that too. I was like, because I didn't know that. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. That's a nice, fundraiser going on right there. And
and like I said, we just get along with everybody. It's awesome.
Well, I know like the hardcore scene is actually very accommodating. At least like I know from this area, from New Jersey, they're very cool when you go to their shows, very accepting. And
Yep.
you guys also had Ian Reagan and Jessica Pimentel on your tracks as well. Like you could actually hear her on the Hive Mentality. Did you like? Is that
Yep.
again? You had that for a while, or did you reach out to them?
No, I reached out. I reached out to both of them, and Jessica, she plays in a metal band, borderline black metal band, and we've actually played shows with her in the past. And I've known her for probably a better part of a decade now, and that rant, like if you knew her, she's got a little angst behind her, so it totally fit her. And we wrote that, and I forget what part of the song, but there's a line in that song, and it just triggered my memory about her, whether it was a conversation or whatever. And I got to ask her to be on this. I said it would just be perfect, and she nailed it. It was so awesome the way she did that. And then, Tony from Municipal Waste and Iron Reagan, I mean, what better? I mean, that song, Bar is Open, that he guest vocaled on, that is like our first all-out thrash song that we have ever written. We've always had parts in our songs, but this one I'm just like, balls out, the whole thing's got to be thrash. So we just did it, and as soon as it came out, I was just thinking, I'm like, totally Municipal Waste, Iron Reagan, tribute to that. And the way I write is whatever I'm listening to is it kind of puts thoughts in my head, and I kind of write like that. So obviously I was definitely listening to Iron Reagan or Municipal Waste at that time, because they're definitely one of my go-to thrash bands of late, besides like Power Trip, and you got your old mainstays like Excess and Slayer. But I asked Tony to be on it, and he was like, absolutely. And again, nailed the part. Didn't even have to tell him twice what to do, and he just sent it back, and I'm like, oh, it's perfect. And now we get to tour with them in Europe. We're going to Europe with them in March, so it's going to be nuts.
And Paul would jump on stage for the song.
I'm hoping.
There we
I
go.
mean, we'll ask. Not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna. I'm definitely gonna ask. Got to do that.
For anyone tuning in right now, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Metal Teddy Bear Experience, and I got Mike, the guitarist of Brick by Brick, on the line. So during my show, I asked 3 random silly questions. Are you ready to take part in that?
Sure.
There we go. I'm going to ease you in with this one. This one's a nice and easy one. Do you button your shirt top down or bottom up?
Bottom up.
Really? Bottom up?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
dude.
do.
I was talking to some people about it, and they're always like, dude, top down always. And then there's like a couple of
I do
people.
mine bottom up. I screw it up the other way sometimes.
Really?
Keep in mind, I rarely wear a button-up shirt. So.
Okay. Yeah, I tried it the other day just because when I was asking this question, I was like, oh, I'm going to try it myself. I actually messed up going from bottom to the bottom up. But that's
I don't
interesting.
know. Well, call me special, I guess.
All right, question number 2. What song would you pick to be the soundtrack of your life?
Wow.
Tough one, throwing you on the spot.
Yeah, that's the soundtrack of my life.
Well, it started because me and my friend were talking one day, and he was just saying something really sad. I'm like, dude, you know what? The soundtrack of your life would be Sound of Silence. Like, that would be the soundtrack of your life, and it was just really funny. So that's how the question got. But I got some good answers on this. But what do you have for us?
I'm trying to think. That's a really good question. And now I got like a bazillion songs rattling through my head. And I'm like, the soundtrack of my life. And I got to be careful how I answer this, because I don't want to jinx myself for my future.
Of course.
I don't know. Lately, I mean, I don't know what I've been listening to lately. One of my favorite songs is Breathe Grease by Municipal Waste. And the reason why I think I'm picking this song now is because if you ever seen that video, the video is hilarious. And it's it emulates when we're on tour. That's how we are. It's just we just go there to have fun and have a blast. So I would say I would pick that song, but you got to watch the video in order to really understand why I'm picking that song.
I'm not familiar with it, but I'll definitely check it out after this. Definitely will. All right, question number 3, the last question. What is the most memorable prank you've seen on tour?
Most memorable. Let's see. I mean, we've had 3 tours that really stick out in my head. Was our first decent one was with Biohazard. We did a Canadian tour with them, and we shared a van. It was just us and them. We shared a van through all of Canada, and Danny drove, and I was in the passenger seat. Everybody else just mingled in the back, but just having 10 people in the same van for 5-6 days, it was so funny. I mean, we would tell stories that would make you laugh so hard you would cry. I think we almost died like 3 or 4 times because of tears in people's eyes and can't see the road. So that was definitely a memorable experience. They took us out, and it was just so much fun. We got treated like they treated us great. Then we've toured numerous times with Madball, but we did a Canadian tour with Madball, and again, it was just everything clicked and happened the way it should have, and every show was so successful, and it was just the camaraderie that we have with Madball it was just so much fun. So those are 2 memorable things there. And then last year we did our first tour in Europe with Slapshot, and they took us out. And a European experience is none like anything else that I've ever experienced before. So it was my first tour in Europe, and the way we got treated over there, you can definitely get spoiled really easy. I'll put it that way. So those are the biggest 3 things that stick out right in my head right now.
I mean, that sounds pretty solid. I mean, I feel like any time most of the time when you're on the road with your friends, I feel like it's always going to be a good tour, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we did a California tour. We did a West Coast tour. That was I could tell you stories upon stories. You're not going to have enough time. and just think, we're not really a huge band, so it's just I can only imagine with like a band like Slayer. It's like, what are their most memorable experiences? They got to be totally nuts.
Yeah, 30 years of touring. Crazy.
Exactly.
So that was the random silly question segment. Thank you for participating in that. I had fun. So you mentioned before that you guys are having a release show at the Upstate Concert Hall in Clifton Park, New York, on February 22nd, when the album comes out, Hive Mentality. So you guys playing the full album?
No, not the full album, but majority of the songs will definitely be represented. Actually, you know what? It's funny you asked that because I was just writing the set list for that. Let me see. Are we playing the whole album on that?
Do it. I love when bands do that, when they have release shows and they actually play the whole album in its entirety. I feel like that's such a cool experience. Like it's just so much fun when they just play like the whole album.
Almost the whole album. We got 7 or 9 songs that are in the set list.
Oh, okay. So how many tracks?
There's 9 on the.
So
CD.
yeah, that's 80%. That's pretty solid right there. So when do we when should we expect like another single coming out? Because the album comes out February 22nd.
I know the label is going to be dropping a static video of the song with Vincent called "In the Ruins." I think that is the end of next week, and then we just started filming a video for Bars Open, the one that Tony guest spots on. So that'll be released before the release date as well. So you can look forward to one video and one promotional video, I guess you can call it. They call it a static video.
Yeah.
It's not an actual video, whatever, but it'll have the song on it.
Solid. I can't wait for that. I really can't. And so any other touring plans or anything else you would like to mention?
We're doing the Rebellion Fest in March we're going out. It's going to be Madball, Iron Reagan, Death Before Dishonor, Born from Pain, band called, and there's a couple other bands on there too. So that's going to be throughout Europe, starting in March, and then we don't have any. We're just doing like a couple of smaller shows, but we're going to start planning another West Coast tour after that.
Cool. Anything in the New Jersey area that we should talk about, or nothing yet?
Nothing yet. Like I said, right now it's like I said, we're kind of holding back because we're waiting on dates to get confirmed for West Coast, and then once we get those, because the time span is a little bit vast, so I don't want to book shows and then have to cancel them or whatever, you know.
Of course,
so.
Yeah, I get that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to do this interview, man. I really, really appreciate it. And that's Hive Mentality, comes out February 22nd. So thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you so much, dude.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem, man. Well, enjoy your night, and hope to see you soon.
All right, definitely. Take care.
Living life with no concern, no care for what you said, giving me 1,000 reasons to smash your innocence.